Liverpool's ideal Alexander-Arnold successor is begging Richard Hughes to sign him. Liverpool will soon have a big decision to make because of Trent Alexander-Arnold. The 26-year-old right-back is the subject of intense transfer interest from Real Madrid. FSG and sporting director Richard Hughes opted to decline Madrid's offer to negotiate for a January transfer, with the Spanish giants making contact just before the window opened. Their refusal to enter into talks leaves Liverpool vulnerable to Los Blancos, seeking to tie Trent down to a pre-contract agreement ahead of a potential summer 2025 free transfer. It was previously described as Hughes's priority to sort out Alexander-Arnold's contract, but the sporting director has had no success on that front as yet. Now Liverpool are powerless to prevent talks between Madrid and their homegrown star, meaning potential replacements will need to be sought. Conor Bradley could end up being the Reds' long-term option at right-back, but there is a chance that the club move for a defender next summer. Among the candidates discussed have been Lutjarl Geertruida, Jeremy Frimpong and Van der Son. Amar Dedic shines in the Bernabeu. Also mentioned has been Amar Dedic, whose pre-established links with Liverpool might well put him ahead as a candidate to come to the club. Dedic, 22, plays for Red Bull Salzburg and has been a bright spot in an otherwise disappointing season for the Austrian giants. On Wednesday night, he demonstrated his potential at the highest level when his Salzburg side took on Real Madrid in the Champions League at the Bernabeu. Having to mark Vinicius Jr. was a task avoided by Bradley when Madrid visited Anfield earlier this season due to an injury suffered by the Brazilian. But he was back in the lineup on Wednesday, meaning a testing night in store for Bosnia and Herzegovina. International Dedic Madrid mauled Salzburg 5-1, but among the wreckage, Dedic emerged with credit. He was on hand to provide the assist for Mads Bidstrup, which made it 5-1 on the night, demonstrating that even in the most exacting circumstances, he was capable of creating chances. On the defensive front, Dedic was indeed turned inside out by Vinny for his second goal of the night, but otherwise held up decently. He won 7 of his 10 duels and made 5 out of 5 tackles on the night. Dedic also gave 2 key passes and completed the only dribble he attempted. As well as that, he created 3 chances overall, the most on the night for an overmatched Salzburg. With Liverpool looking for a right-back and with Red Bull connections, it could well be that Dedic is the man to come to Anfield to replace Trent. Arne Slot's Liverpool boasts scary weapon no one talks about. What a team Arne Slot has at Liverpool right now, and yet there's an incredible weapon in there that no one is talking about. Top of the Premier League, top of the UEFA Champions League. What more can Arne Slot possibly do? It's been a simply incredible start to life at Liverpool. Slot has the team ticking over as the best in Europe right now, and that's genuinely shocking. This was a team that fell apart at the back end of last season, unable to mount a charge towards trophies post-EFL Cup win. Jurgen Klopp left with virtually all of his staff. Joel Matip left, Thiago left. There weren't any major signings either, as Federico Chiesa was the only addition. The Italian was a cheap gamble, though, a player with enormous talent who wasn't putting it all together at Juventus. And yet, Slot has them topping the tables. It's been a remarkable job with Liverpool favourites to lift the Premier League title. Few would have them out of the running for the Champions League either. But here's the truly ridiculous thing. We think this is even better than it looks. Not in a Slot is doing a better than it looks kind of way either. This Liverpool team should terrify Europe right now because it holds a weapon that looks unstoppable. This Liverpool team will only get better. Liverpool have been transformed this season, and most of the reason for that is in midfield. Slot changed the midfield system from what it was under Klopp, prioritising play between the lines. Klopp liked his one-sitting midfielder with 2 well-rounded players in front of him. It was wildly successful, of course, bringing every major trophy. But it wasn't as well suited to this crop of players. Slot instead has 2 sitting players, but hands both the license to break forward. The midfielder in front of them is then giving fantastic freedom to join the press, get beyond the forwards and drift into space wherever he finds it. Liverpool could face nightmare Champions League draw as path to final. Becomes clearer. Liverpool is just one of 2 teams guaranteed a spot in the last 16 of the Champions League, heading into the final week of the league phase, with the Reds' path to the final starting to become clearer. The Champions League knockout stages are finally beginning to take shape, with Liverpool only one of two teams to have booked their place in the last 16 of the competition. Having beaten Lille on Tuesday, thanks to goals from Mohamed Salah and Harvey Elliott, the Reds know now that they can't finish any lower than second in the league phase, having won all 7 of their games so far. That essentially makes next week's final encounter of the opening stage against PSV Eindhoven a dead rubber, with just a point needed to secure top spot. Although there might not be any more reward for doing so, there is still a lot to be determined. During the final week of the league phase, 9 teams have been eliminated so far, with another 3 set to join them, and Manchester City among those in serious danger of falling at the first hurdle. How the knockout stages work, it is definitely worth going over how the knockout stages work in this new format, given how overly complicated UEFA has now made the competition. Liverpool is now through to the last 16, with Barcelona the only other side also guaranteed of a spot, although Arsenal and Inter Milan are near enough there as well. The Reds are guaranteed to finish in the top 2, which at least gives us a better idea of who they might face in knockout stages, with the ties already somewhat predetermined.